In the quiet town of Ulverston, Lancashire, England, on June 16, 1890, a child was born who would one day bring laughter to millions. Arthur Stanley Jefferson, known to the world as Stan Laurel, came into a world far removed from the glittering lights of Hollywood. His upbringing, however, was steeped in the world of theater, with both parents deeply entrenched in the performing arts. His father, Arthur J. Jefferson, managed several theaters, while his mother, Margaret Metcalf, was an actress. This theatrical lineage laid the foundation for what would become a legendary career. Growing up in a theatrical family, young Stan was no stranger to the stage. He was mesmerized by the performances he witnessed, absorbing every detail, every nuance of the actors' movements and expressions. He wasn't just an observer, he was a student, learning the craft that would one day make him a household name. The theater was his playground, and it was here that he first encountered the magic of performance. But life wasn't always easy for the Jefferson family. Despite their connections to the world of theater, financial struggles were a constant companion. Stan's father, though passionate about his work, often found it difficult to make ends meet, and the family moved frequently in search of better opportunities. This instability would later influence Stan's own approach to life and work, instilling in him a deep sense of determination and resilience. In 1910, after years of honing his craft in British music halls, Stan Laurel joined Fred Karno's famous vaudeville troupe. It was a decision that would change the course of his life. The troupe, which also included a young Charlie Chaplin, was a breeding ground for comedic talent. The two men, though different in style, shared a deep respect for each other's work, and their friendship would last a lifetime. Laurel's time with Karno's troupe took him across the Atlantic to America, where the burgeoning film industry was creating opportunities that simply didn't exist in Britain. The bright lights of Hollywood were a world away from the dimly lit stages of British music halls, but Stan was ready for the challenge. He saw potential in the silent film industry, a medium that allowed him to explore the visual comedy that he had spent years perfecting. When he arrived in America, Laurel faced the same struggles that many immigrants did. He had to start from scratch, taking on small roles in short films and working his way up the ladder. His early years in Hollywood were marked by a series of short films that allowed him to experiment with different styles of comedy. These films, though not widely remembered today, were crucial in developing the unique brand of humor that would later define his career. The year was 1927, and the world of comedy was about to be forever changed. Stan Laurel, by now a seasoned performer, crossed paths with Oliver Hardy, a man whose on-screen presence was as large as his physical stature. The chemistry between them was immediate and undeniable. Together, they formed one of the most iconic duos in the history of film, Laurel and Hardy. Laurel and Hardy's appeal lay in their contrasting personas. Stan's character, the naive and hapless innocent, was the perfect foil to Hardy's pompous and exasperated figure. Their comedy was rooted in the simple, yet profound, idea of the underdog trying, and often failing, to navigate a world that was too big and too complex for him. The universality of this theme resonated with audiences around the world, transcending language and cultural barriers. Their first major success came with the 1927 short film Putting Pants on Philip, which set the tone for what would become their signature style. The physical comedy, the impeccable timing, and the subtle interplay between the two characters quickly made them stars. Over the next few decades, Laurel and Hardy starred in over 100 films, including classics like The Music Box, 1932, Sons of the Desert, 1933, and Way Out West, 1937. But their success was not just due to their on-screen chemistry. Behind the scenes, it was Laurel who took on much of the creative work, writing scripts, directing, and editing. Hardy trusted Laurel's vision completely, allowing him to take the lead in shaping their films. This creative partnership was rare in Hollywood, where egos often clashed, but for Laurel and Hardy, it was the secret to their enduring success. As Laurel and Hardy's star continued to rise, so too did the pressures of fame. For Stan Laurel, these pressures were compounded by a tumultuous personal life. Despite his success, he struggled to find happiness in his private life. He was married and divorced multiple times, each relationship marked by its own set of challenges. His marriages were often marred by misunderstandings and conflicts, and Laurel's dedication to his work often took a toll on his personal relationships. Laurel's struggles were not just emotional but financial as well. Despite being one of Hollywood's biggest stars, He found himself in a constant battle to secure fair compensation for his work. The studio system of the time was notorious for exploiting talent, and Laurel, despite his contributions to the success of Laurel and Hardy, often found himself at odds with studio executives over pay and creative control. The stress of his personal and professional life began to take a toll on his health. By the late 1940s, Laurel's health was in decline. He suffered from a series of strokes, which left him weakened and unable to work as he once did. The strokes also affected his speech and mobility, robbing him of the physical abilities that were so integral to his comedy. Then, in 1957, tragedy struck when Oliver Hardy passed away after suffering a major stroke. For Laurel, Hardy's death was not just the loss of a friend but the end of an era. The two had been inseparable for decades, both on and off the screen, and Hardy's passing left a void that Laurel could never fully overcome. It marked the end of their legendary partnership, and for Laurel, the loss was deeply personal. After Hardy's death, Stan Laurel made the difficult decision to retire from performing. Though he was no longer in the public eye, Laurel continued to work behind the scenes, writing and developing ideas for new comedy routines. However, his declining health prevented him from bringing these ideas to fruition. Laurel's final years were spent in a small apartment in Santa Monica, California, where he lived with his fourth wife, Ida Kittiva Raphael. Despite his physical limitations, he remained mentally sharp and continued to correspond with fans from around the world. He was known for his kindness and generosity, often taking the time to write long, thoughtful letters to those who reached out to him. Though he was no longer on the screen, Laurel's influence on comedy remained strong. In 1961, he was awarded an honorary Academy Award for his contributions to the art of comedy. The award was a recognition of his pioneering work, and though he was too ill to attend the ceremony, it was a moment of validation for a man who had given so much to the world of entertainment. On February 23, 1965, the world said goodbye to Stan Laurel. He passed away at the age of 74 after suffering a heart attack. His death marked the end of a life that had brought joy and laughter to millions, but it also marked the loss of a man who had faced immense challenges and personal struggles. Laurel was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Los Angeles, where his grave remains a place of pilgrimage for fans and admirers. Though he is gone, his legacy lives on through the countless films and performances that continue to entertain new generations. Stan Laurel's life was a testament to the power of laughter. His contributions to the world of comedy are immeasurable, and his influence can be seen in the work of countless comedians who followed in his footsteps. Laurel and Hardy's films continue to be celebrated for their timeless humor and universal appeal, proving that great comedy can transcend time and place. But beyond his professional achievements, Laurel's life is also a reminder of the personal cost of fame. His struggles with relationships, health, and financial stability are a poignant reminder that even those who bring joy to others are not immune to life's challenges. Laurel's story is one of resilience and creativity. Despite the many hardships he faced, he remained committed to his craft, always striving to make people laugh. His legacy is not just in the films he made, but in the laughter he inspired, the joy he brought, and the countless lives he touched. In the end, Stan Laurel was more than just a comedian. He was a pioneer, a storyteller, and a man who understood the profound impact that humor can have on the human spirit. His life may have been marked by sadness and struggle, but his enduring legacy is one of laughter and love, a legacy that will continue to resonate for generations to come.